Caleb Whitmore stood in the middle of the sheriff's office with his dead son's pocket watch in one hand and a loaded revolver in the other. Across from him sat Sheriff Amos Pike, the man everybody in Mercy Creek trusted. The same man who had helped lower Caleb's boy into the ground. The same man who had stood by the grave, taken off his hat, and said, "Your son made a bad choice, Caleb. Whiskey kills more young men than bullets." But now, Caleb knew the truth. His son had not been drunk. His son had not lost control of that wagon. And the killer was not some nameless rider lost in the dark. The killer was wearing a badge. Before we go back to where it all began, take a moment and comment where you are listening from. If this kind of old frontier story touches your heart, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts below. And, if you have ever seen the truth buried to protect someone powerful, tell us your experience too. The morning Caleb Whitmore buried his son, the whole town of Mercy Creek came to watch. Not because they loved the boy. Some did. Some only came because death gave folks something to whisper about. The church bell rang slow. Dust moved across the graveyard in soft brown waves. Caleb stood beside the open grave with his hat pressed against his chest. His face looked hard, but his hands shook. His son, Daniel Whitmore, was only 24. He had been strong, kind, and stubborn. Too much like Caleb, folks said. Maybe that was why their last conversation had ended with anger. You don't listen. Caleb had told him the night before Daniel died. Daniel had stood by the ranch gate, holding the reins of his gray horse. "I listen, Pa. I just don't want to spend my whole life afraid of men with money." Caleb had snapped back. Bravery gets young men buried. Daniel had looked hurt. Then he rode away. By sunrise, he was dead. They found him near Black Willow Bend, where the road curved hard beside a dry creek bed. His wagon lay broken on its side. One wheel had split. The horses were gone. A bottle of whiskey was found near the wreck. Sheriff Amos Pike called it plain. "Boy drank too much," he said. "Lost the road in the dark." Caleb did not argue at first. Grief had made his mind dull. He signed what needed signing. He let the women bring food. He let neighbors pat his shoulder and say things that did not help. But after the funeral, when the house went quiet, Caleb sat alone at the kitchen table. Daniel's silver pocket watch lay before him. The glass was cracked. The hands had stopped at 11:17. Caleb turned it over and rubbed the back with his thumb. Daniel's mother had given it to the boy before she died. She had carved 3 words inside the cover. "Walk straight, son." Caleb opened it and stared at those words until his eyes burned. Then he noticed something strange. There was dried mud packed inside the hinge. Black mud. But Black Willow Bend had no mud. Not in July. That creek had been dry for 2 months. The next morning, Caleb rode out before sunrise. He did not tell anybody. At the bend, he climbed down from his horse and studied the ground. The wagon marks were still there, faint but visible. The sheriff had said Daniel came too fast down the road and turned late. But Caleb had worked land and animals for 40 years. He knew tracks. He knew when a wagon drifted and when it was forced. These marks were wrong. Daniel's wagon had not simply run off the road. Something had hit it from the side. Caleb followed the broken lines through the dust. Near a patch of mesquite, not wagon horses, riding horses, heavy ones, 2 men, at least. A cold feeling moved through him. Then he saw a small strip of cloth caught on a thorn bush. Dark blue wool, fine material, not ranch cloth, not work cloth, lawman cloth. Caleb held it between his fingers and looked back toward town. When he returned to Mercy Creek, the saloon doors were already swinging. Men drank coffee, played cards, and spoke low when he passed. At the back of the room, Ruth Bell looked up from wiping a table. She was a widow in her 50s, with tired eyes that noticed everything. "You went to the bend," she said quietly. Caleb stopped. "How did you know?" Ruth looked toward the sheriff's office across the street. "Because men who lose sons either go to the grave or go looking for why." Caleb stepped closer. "Do you know something?" Her face tightened. "I know Daniel came here that night. He was not drunk." Caleb's breath caught. Ruth lowered her voice. "He asked for water. Said he had to get to Judge Hanley before morning. Said he had proof." "What proof?" Ruth swallowed. "He never told me." Outside, a door creaked. Sheriff Amos Pike stepped onto the wooden porch across the street. His badge caught the sun like a small, bright knife. He looked straight at Caleb. Then he smiled. Caleb felt the cracked watch grow heavy in his pocket. And for the first time since the funeral, he understood something terrible. His son had not died with a secret. His son had died because of one. Caleb did not sleep that night. He sat in the dark cabin with Daniel's silver pocket watch on the table and his old revolver beside it. The lantern burned low. The wind moved against the shutters like fingers trying to get in. Every sound outside made Caleb lift his head. A horse passing. A loose gate chain. A coyote calling far beyond the cattle fence. But nothing frightened him more than the thought that Daniel had died alone, carrying the truth in his chest, and no one there to hear it. Near dawn, Caleb opened Daniel's small trunk. He had avoided it since the funeral. It still smelled faintly of leather, dust, and cedar chips. Inside were folded shirts, a clean neckerchief, 2 old letters from his mother, and a little wooden horse Daniel had carved when he was a boy. Caleb reached deeper. At the bottom, under a piece of worn blanket, he found a torn map. It showed the land west of Mercy Creek. The Whitmore Ranch was marked in pencil. So was the dry creek bed near Black Willow Bend. Farther north, Daniel had circled a place called Miller's Crossing. Caleb frowned. Miller's Crossing had been abandoned for years. Below the circle, Daniel had written 3 words. Pike met Mercer. Caleb's hand tightened around the paper. Silas Mercer was the richest man in Mercy Creek. He owned the bank, half the cattle contracts, and most of the men who pretended they were free. He had wanted Caleb's ranch for years because the old cattle trail ran through it. Caleb remembered Daniel saying, "Men with money don't ask forever, Pa. One day they take." Caleb had told him to stay out of it. Now those words came back like a knife. By noon, Caleb rode toward Miller's Crossing. The sun was high and hard. Dust stuck to his coat. His horse moved slow through the dry grass and broken fence posts. When he reached the abandoned crossing, he saw the remains of an old stagecoach station leaning against the wind. He climbed down and tied his horse near a dead cottonwood tree. The place was quiet, too quiet. Caleb walked through the empty station. A broken chair lay on its side. Old bottles glittered in the dirt. In the back room, he found fresh boot prints in the dust. Then he saw scratches on the floorboards. Something had been dragged. Caleb knelt and pulled at one board. It came loose with a dry groan. Underneath was a small tin box. Inside the box was a folded deed, 2 signed notes, and a blood-stained handkerchief with the initials A.P. Amos Pike. Caleb's chest went cold. The deed showed a land transfer that had not happened yet. His ranch was listed as future property of Silas Mercer. But Caleb had never sold it, never signed anything. The notes were worse. One note said Daniel Whitmore had seen Pike and Mercer exchanging papers. The other said Daniel was going to Judge Hanley with proof before sunrise. Caleb sat back on his heels. His boy had not been reckless. His boy had been brave. Then came the sound of a hammer clicking behind him. "Stand real slow, Mr. Whitmore." Caleb froze. A young deputy stood in the doorway, revolver aimed at Caleb's back. His name was Thomas Reed. He was barely older than Daniel had been, with nervous eyes and a badge too new for his shirt. Caleb lifted his hands. "You following me, boy?" Thomas swallowed. "Sheriff told me you might do something foolish." Caleb looked at the tin box on the floor. "And what do you call this?" Thomas glanced at it, and his face changed. Not surprise. Fear. "You knew," Caleb said. Thomas's lips trembled. "I didn't kill Daniel. I asked if you knew." The young deputy looked away. Caleb moved before Thomas could think. He knocked the gun aside and drove his shoulder into the boy's chest. They crashed against the wall. The revolver fell into the dirt. Thomas did not fight back. He just slid down and whispered, "They told me it was only to scare him." Caleb grabbed him by the shirt. "Who?" Thomas's eyes filled with tears. "Pike and Mercer. Daniel saw them fixing the deed. Pike said he would stop him before he reached the judge." Caleb's face twisted with pain. Thomas spoke fast now. "They chased his wagon. Pike struck the wheel with his horse. Daniel was thrown. He was alive when they reached him." Caleb stopped breathing. Alive. That word broke something inside him. "What did Pike do?" Caleb asked. Thomas shook his head, crying like a child. "He told Daniel he should have stayed quiet. Then he put the whiskey bottle near the wreck." Caleb released him and stepped back. For a moment, all he could see was red dust, Daniel's broken watch, and Sheriff Pike smiling across the street. Thomas picked up the tin box and pushed it toward Caleb. "Take it to Judge Hanley." Caleb looked down at him. "Why tell me now?" Thomas wiped his face. "Because I hear Daniel every night, and because Pike plans to arrest you before sundown." A rifle shot cracked outside. The window burst. Thomas jerked and fell hard against the floor. Caleb dropped behind the wall as another shot tore through the station. Outside, Sheriff Pike's voice called through the dust. "Caleb Whitmore, come out with your hands empty." Caleb looked at Thomas bleeding beside the tin box. Then he reached for his revolver. Caleb Whitmore had killed men before. Not out of anger, not out of pride. Only when the war had dragged him into places no man should remember. Since then, he had promised Daniel's mother he would never again let death become easy in his hands. But now, with bullets cutting through the old stage station, and young Deputy Thomas Reed bleeding on the floor, that promise felt far away. "Caleb," Sheriff Pike shouted from outside, "you stole town property and assaulted my deputy. Come out, or I will drag you out dead." Caleb looked at Thomas. The boy was pale, but breathing. "Can you ride?" Caleb whispered. Thomas pressed a shaking hand to his side. "Barely." Caleb grabbed the tin box and shoved it inside his coat. Then he kicked loose 2 backboards from the wall. The station had been built cheap and old. Mercy Creek's wind had done half the work for him. "Move," Caleb said. They crawled out through the back while Pike and his men watched the front door. Caleb helped Thomas onto his horse, then slapped the animal hard. "Ride to Judge Hanley," Caleb said. "Give him the box." Thomas held the reins with one bloody hand. "What about you?" Caleb looked toward the dust rising around the station. "I am done running behind the truth." Then he turned and walked toward the front of the building. Pike was waiting in the road, shotgun in hand. 2 hired men stood near him. Silas Mercer sat on his horse farther back, dressed clean as a church elder, watching another poor man's life break apart. Caleb stepped into the sunlight. His revolver was low at his side. Pike smiled. "Where is the deputy?" "Still got more courage than you." Pike's smile faded. Mercer leaned forward. "You should have sold me that ranch, Whitmore. None of this would have touched your boy." That sentence struck Caleb harder than any bullet. He raised his gun. Pike raised his shotgun. For one long second, the whole world held its breath. Then a voice cried out from the ridge, "Drop your weapons." Judge Hanley rode in with Thomas slumped behind him and 6 armed cattlemen from the North Trail. Ruth Bell rode beside them, her gray hair loose beneath her hat. Daniel's old blue neckerchief tied around her wrist. Caleb stared at her. Ruth looked back and shouted, "Daniel gave it to me the night he died. Said if anything happened, I should find someone brave enough to listen." Pike cursed and swung his shotgun toward the ridge. Caleb fired once. The shot knocked the shotgun from Pike's hands. The sheriff fell to his knees, clutching his wounded arm, alive but beaten. Mercer tried to run. The cattleman blocked him. By sundown, Mercy Creek had gathered in front of the sheriff's office. The tin box was opened. The forged deed was read aloud. Thomas told what he knew. Ruth spoke of Daniel's final night. And Sheriff Amos Pike, who had once stood over Daniel's grave pretending to mourn, was locked behind his own iron bars. But Caleb did not feel peace. Not yet. He stood outside the jail after dark, Daniel's cracked watch in his palm. Pike sat inside, pale and silent. "You came to kill me," Pike said. Caleb did not answer. Pike gave a bitter laugh. "Go on then. A court may hang me, or Mercer may buy his way free. Men like us know how this land works." Caleb slowly lifted his eyes. "No," he said. "Men like you know how to break it." His hand moved toward his revolver. Pike's face changed. For a moment, Caleb saw Daniel lying in the dust, saw the whiskey bottle, saw the lie, saw every lonely morning waiting for a son who would never ride home again. Then the cracked watch slipped open in his hand. "Walk straight, son." Caleb's fingers shook. He pulled the revolver from his belt and placed it on the sheriff's desk. "I will not bury my boy twice," he said. "Once in the ground, once inside myself." The next morning, Judge Hanley sent Pike and Mercer under guard to the territorial court. Thomas lived, though he never wore a badge again. Ruth Bell left the saloon and helped Caleb keep the ranch through winter. Caleb buried Daniel's pocket watch beside his mother's grave, but not before fixing the hands at 11:17. Not to remember the minute Daniel died, but to remember the minute the truth refused to stay buried. And from that day on, whenever folks in Mercy Creek spoke of Caleb Whitmore, they did not call him the rancher who lost his son. They called him the father who found justice without losing his soul.